Hi, so in this video I'm going to talk about what I mean by intensity. Now, a lot of people understand the concept of sensitivity thanks to Elaine Aron's work, The Highly Sensitive Person, that's been around for nearly 25 years now. But I know when I read that book, even though I strongly identified as a highly sensitive person, there were other elements of my experience, my identity, that weren't addressed there. And that is this concept of intensity. So whereas someone who's sensitive is aware of, notices things that other people maybe don't notice, someone who is intense has strong, quick reactions to those things that other people don't notice. So people who have intensity are passionate. They experience life as with a feeling of being more alive, more intensely alive than average. And so, whereas sensitivity can seem quite a passive and reactive thing, people who are intense have this energy that is very often apparent to other people. It's almost as if there's so much energy, so much going on inside them, that they just can't keep it inside. And whether that's a child who hasn't yet learned to regulate their emotions, having a meltdown, or an adult with this simmering, buzzing energy inside them. Our nervous systems are more reactive and sensitive than average. And it's not just a difference in the scale of our reactions. It's not just that we have bigger reactions to a lower threshold of stimuli. It's that our reactions differ in essence as well. So as I said, we have this vibrant quality to our lives. And our reactions can be to all sorts of things. It can be to information that comes in through our physical senses, so we can have strong reactions to smells, sights, sounds, but it can also be to elements of our internal experience, so the thoughts, ideas floating through our heads, the feelings that we have in our bodies. For instance, some people have emotional intensity, which means they experience a very deep, broad, complex range of emotions. People can have strong reactions to the ideas that float through their heads, such that they just can't let it go like someone else who doesn't have intensity can. They're compelled to act on what's going through their heads. Or somebody might have a strong reaction to perceived injustice or something that they see as wrong. They have to set a problem right. They have to get to the bottom. They have to get to the truth of the matter. They have to overturn injustice. They feel compelled to act. And so the difficulty for those who have intensity is that they have this energy, they often have this impulse to act, and they behave differently from most people. But because not much is talked about intensity, people who have these hardwired traits, these traits that they've inherited, don't know that they have the difference inside them. So that whereas, say, in school we learn to talk about ourselves as having brown hair and hazel eyes, and I'm different from you who've got blonde hair and blue eyes, we don't know that we're having this different inner experience. We just feel, we are left with this sense that there's something a bit wrong with us. Maybe that's the way that other children sort of back off from our intensity or our strong emotional reactions to things that seem to just leave other children unaffected. And very often this is reinforced by negative feedback that we get from the adults around us, usually well-meaning, but telling us to stop being so sensitive or to lighten up. And that leaves many of us believing that our intense traits are something to be ashamed of, something that we need to learn to change if we're going to be acceptable to other people, if we're going to find success in the world. And so for many of us, it's not until we're well into adult life that we find out about this model. So for me, I was in my 40s and I'd gone looking for answers about what was going on with my son, who I'd learned about sensitivity, I'd learned about introversion, I'd learned about sensory processing disorder, and nothing really gave me a full picture about what was going on with him, and I really wanted to support him. And so finally I found a workshop where I discovered this model of intensity and sensitivity. And even though the woman in the workshop had never met me before, I felt like she was describing me in a way that showed she understood me as no one ever had before. And that gave me a profound sense of validation that really shifted my sense of myself and who I am in the world. And it's that sense of validation that I now feel driven, inspired to share with other people who maybe haven't come across this model before. I really, really want to make the world a kinder, more compassionate place for people who have sensitivity and intensity. So, yeah, I want people to stop suppressing their intense traits and to embrace and celebrate their uniqueness. So I'm buzzing with ideas, things that I want to share and talk about. But what I most want is to connect with you, to be of service to you guys. So if there's anything at all that you'd like to ask me about, then please leave me a comment on my YouTube channel or get in touch with me directly via my website, which is www.giraffe-life.com. Thank you for watching.